Hello friends, welcome to Byju's IAS. My name is Pratibha Verma and I have secured All India Rank 3 in Civil Services Examination 2019. Today I am going to discuss my strategy for prelims with all of you and also a little detail about how to start preparation for beginners. So let's begin with few tips about how a beginner should approach this examination and how should they start preparing for it. First of all, they should look into the syllabus of civil services examination. So this is the very first point that any person who is going to embark upon this journey should look into. So they should take the printout of syllabus of civil services examination and they should keep it on the table where they are going to study. So whenever they are going into any book or any source or any newspaper they are looking into, they should have a printout of the syllabus with them, so that whenever, for example, they come across an article which they think, oh, it looks very important, I should read this, they should be able to figure out whether it is important for the examination or not. If not, then they're just wasting their time. So it is a very first exercise that every beginner should start with. The second thing that I would like to say is looking into the previous year questions that UPSC has asked for this examination. It is very important that we know what kind of questions they are asking the aspirants, about what is the exact depth that we are required to go into when we are preparing this examination. So these two questions has to be cleared by every beginner. So they should look into the syllabus, they should look into the previous year questions, and third thing, they should have to have a proper scheduling about how they are going to use the next 1 year for this preparation. So what most aspirants are doing, they devote their first year just preparing for prelims and they forget that obviously that is just the first stage of this examination. There is mains, there is personality test after that. And this is a common mistake that everyone is doing there, that they start in May or June of 1 year and they are preparing for the examination of next year. And they are just trying to clear the prelims. They are analyzing what questions UPSC has asked. So this is a very common mistake that a lot of aspirants are making, that they are using their 1 year before the examination just preparing for the prelim. This is a wrong approach. So this is where a scheduling comes in very handy. So I would just give a few tips about how to devote your 1 year for proper and almost perfect preparation for this examination. So when a student is starting, I would say that they should take at least 10 to 15 days for looking into syllabus, previous year questions, and finding out that what are the areas they are already familiar with. Because when the students are coming for this examination, they have completed their graduation. So you have some knowledge. It could be in the field of science, it could be in the field of polity or geography or economy. You have some background, and then there are areas that you have never touched upon, or maybe you have looked into school and you have forgot these areas. So you have to find out what are the areas where you are weak in. You have to find out a proper strategy for this examination. How you can do that? You can watch toppers videos. You can obviously look into interviews that they have given, what they have adopted. You can decide upon the book list that is there. And most important part of this is you have to decide your optional within these 10-15 days. I would say you can take up to 1 month for deciding the optional. That is not the most urgent part, but you have to have a strategy. So deciding the optional, these are the first thing a student should do. The second thing is, when they are starting, they should decide how much time the optional is going to take and how much time general studies portion is going to take. So normally when I started, I devoted my first 2 months just for the general studies part, and next 4 months mostly for preparing the optional. So by the end of 6 months, I had a good grasp on general studies, very basic one, where I had studied just the basic books that are required to be covered in, and I had prepared optional pretty well. So by the end of half a year, I had at least one area where I was confident that okay, this is done. Now when next 6 months before the prelims, you should devote 3 or 4 months for preparation of general studies from mains point of view. So here you have to cover all the basic books that are required. You have to cover the current affairs. You have to make your own short notes for each and every topic of mains that is frequently asked in the question papers. And then at the same time, you should start answer writing at this stage of examination, where you have at least sufficient knowledge to write 2 pages of answers for every question. So this is the stage where students should start practicing about how much they have prepared. And then 2 or 2.5 months before the prelims, a student can devote all their times towards the preparation of prelims examination. So this should be very clear to each and every aspirant, that your whole year should not go into preparation of just preliminary examination. You have to remember that this exam is a process of integrated preparation. This requires continuous integrated preparation. Only after that you can clear this examination in first attempt. I could not do this because I did not follow this kind of strategy or this kind of plan. Believe me, trust me, I have learned from my own mistakes, and then I figured out a proper strategy after failing in 2017 prelims. Only after that I discovered that I have to make these changes. So this is one plan that you should stick to. Then the next point comes about whether a beginner should refer to NCERTs or not. NCERT is a very important source for this examination. Every year, if you look at the question paper of mains question paper, there are questions directly picked from NCERT. But here again, you have to pick very wisely. You cannot read each and every NCERTs and revise all of them every time. So there are NCERTs that you have to look at only once, and there are very important NCERTs that you have to revise over and over again. So I would talk about these, but again, you have to remember that if you are preparing very early, for example, if you're just in your graduation, maybe first or second year of your BA, BTech, BCom, whatever you are doing, you can refer to all of the NCERTs to prepare a good knowledge base or get a good feel about what this examination is about. If you have just 1 year before the preliminary, this is when you are beginning your preparation, then I would say that you can easily set aside NCERTs from class 6 to 8th. That is not required. You have pretty good understanding. You are a mature adult. You have proper understanding of all the subjects. Then you can directly jump into the core or the advanced books that are required for clearing this examination. So NCERTs are not must. However, there are few that every aspirant should look into for clearing this examination. Then comes the question of notes. When should a beginner should start making note? This is a very important question. For me, I did not prepare notes for prelims. However, I did make proper notes for mains examination. So for every topic of mains syllabus, I had 1-page note that I could readily refer to whenever I needed to revise anything. And these were the notes that I had revised multiple times before writing the mains examination. For prelims, it is up to you. It depends upon your own strength, how well you can memorize all the topics, how well you can read from the books directly. So this depends upon your own strength. So do not worry about making notes for prelims. However, I would suggest that you should have a notes for mains examination. Then the next question comes about newspaper. I would say that newspaper have helped me a lot, because when I started preparing for this examination, I was completely disconnected from what current events were happening in our nation, what were the events happening in all over the world. So newspaper was a very important source when I began the preparation. However, I never prepared any notes daily from the newspaper. I believe that coaching institutes do a very good job when it comes to compiling the material on every important issue. But on a daily basis, when you're going through the newspaper, it becomes very easy to read these topics from the coaching materials or the monthly magazine, that whatever you're referring to. Building a good awareness, building a good mindset where constructive criticism is important comes from the newspaper. So it has helped me a lot. I would say you should do it too, but do not jump into making notes out of them, because it becomes really difficult to revise these notes when you have a compilation of 400-500 pages of newspaper notes. So on this area, I would say on the basis of your own strength, however, it can be avoided. Next, we would discuss about how to approach prelims examination. So prelims question paper has two parts. First is general studies, where 100 questions are asked, and second one is CSAT, where 80 questions are asked. Now, when you look at the syllabus that has been given for prelims, you would see that there are 7 pillars that has been mentioned in the syllabus, which is history, geography, economy, polity, science, environment, and culture. Apart from that, current events of national and international importance are obviously asked in this examination. When we are preparing for prelims examination, the main focus is upon building a knowledge base, creating a good knowledge base, which is really helpful for your mains as well as your personality test. I have had the experience of appearing for both these stages twice, and in these two stages my knowledge that I had gained in prelims examination had been very critical, had been really useful in clearing this examination. There are times when an interviewer can ask you about how a bill is passed in parliament. You don't read this in main syllabus, you obviously read it in your polity preparation when you're preparing for prelims. It is a very static question, and there are times when a number of candidates fumble on this very question. So these things are very important. I would say that preparation of prelims, where we focus upon facts, where we focus upon data, comes in very handy when we are moving into next stages of this examination. So for every candidate, the goal should be to gain the maximum knowledge out of this stage. And remember that this is a very scary stage for a lot of aspirants, because this is where the maximum number of eliminations happen. There are about more than lakh students appearing for prelims. However, only 10 to 12,000 clear for mains. So it is a very crucial stage. We have to devote sufficient amount of time, and we have to do it very strategically. Next, I would like to share what my sources were for preparing each and every subject of prelims examination. So we would start with polity. The standard source for this polity preparation is Lakshmikant. Apart from that, NCERTs can be looked into if you have sufficient amount of time. Again, I had previously told you that if you're starting when you are in your graduation years, then you can look into NCERTs. They give you a very good critical analysis of each and every word, important word that is mentioned in the constitution. For example, what is the meaning of liberty? What is the meaning of justice for a society like India? And what were the constitution makers thinking when they included all these words into the constitution? There are words like secularism, where our understanding is very important, because these are the questions that are being asked in prelims as well as main. So this understanding can help you a lot. But again, if you don't have a lot of time, you can jump directly to Lakshmikant, which is advanced but very critical for clearing this examination. Then the topic of history. History contains 3 parts: ancient, medieval, and modern India history. So for ancient and medieval both, I refer to Tamil Nadu NCERT. It is a very good source. There are a lot of facts here, a lot of information with respect to culture of that time, which again comes in very handy when we are studying the portion of art and culture. So this is a very good source. Apart from that, for modern history, I refer to Spectrum. It is a very good source. There are a number of facts. There are all the big events of that period. Also important personalities, important institution, organization, important publications. These are all there in Spectrum. And the best part of the Spectrum that you should look into when you're preparing for prelims is the appendix. It is very fact heavy. You will be able to successfully attempt a number of questions from modern India by reading appendix. So you should revise it over and over again. However, again, you have to look into the main chapters of Spectrum. Without understanding that, appendix will not be useful for you. The next portion is culture. Here I refer to Nitin Singhania, That is a very good book because it is filled with pictures. It has a very good coverage about all the important parts of our culture, be it architecture, be it performance art, be it visual art, fairs, festivals, what are the important books that our ancestors wrote during this period of ancient and medieval history. It is a very important and very good book. However, there are other materials available which you can refer to. I found this as a very good source. Apart from that, I had also looked into NCERT of 11th and 12th for covering culture, but I did not revise it many times. My go-to source for culture was Nitin Singhania. Next, we will come to the topic of geography. For here in geography, there are two important parts: physical geography of the world and India's geography. So, for both these areas, I had referred to NCERT class 11th books. These were my only sources for preparation of geography. Apart from that, obviously, we have to prepare the maps where we have to look into the important areas of world geography. Here comes the continents that are there, the important oceans of the world, and obviously the neighborhood of India, where we look into the geography of Southeast Asia, Africa, Middle East, and Europe. So these parts are very important from the perspective of maps preparation. Apart from that, obviously, we have to look at islands, rivers, mountains, hills of India. These have to be covered in detail. Every year, there are some questions from this area, and if you have prepared these in a detailed manner, then you would be able to attend any prelims questions from these areas. Next is the topic of economy. Here for macroeconomy, I had referred to class 11th NCERT. It is a very good source for beginners. Here you get to learn about GDP, inflation, recession, all these areas. Apart from that, any major topic of macroeconomy, you could get the basic understanding of these topics from this. Apart from that, obviously, I had looked into the current affairs of economy. These parts are looked into from the perspective of macroeconomy. I had prepared brief notes on various topics of agriculture, manufacturing, employment, unemployment, services sector, infrastructure sector, very brief notes for of my own on these topics. Next is the topic of environment. It is a very important topic because every year there are questions from this topic, and obviously it is a hot topic as well because, as you can see, climate change is a very big issue that is asked in not just in the examination, but it is a hot topic of debate all around the world. There are forest fires, there are species which are getting extinct. So when we look at these current affairs topics as well, the environment has been in the discussion for quite some time, for past 10-15 years, and every year this debate is getting even bigger. So environment has to be looked into in a very detailed manner. The next is science. Now science again is a very important part. Every year you can see, if you look at the previous year questions from biotechnology, questions from nanotechnology, robotics, artificial intelligence, and virtual reality, augmented reality. These are very hot topics. Now that we are making good advancement in science, not just at international level but also at national level, India is making huge progress. Look at ISRO. It is one of the most prominent institutions when it comes to the space science. So this is the exact reason why science is very important for us, not just to understand but to prepare in very detailed manner. For this science part, I did not prepare for the basics of it because I have a very good understanding because of my background. I had studied in physics, so I get the ideas of physics or space science in a good way. For example, questions about gravity, questions about relativity, black holes. For me, it was easier to grasp. However, I do understand for a number of students, it could be difficult. That's why they could refer to the NCERT books for the basic understanding. You all can refer to different sources depending upon your own areas of strength. If you have very basic knowledge of science and you're not able to solve these questions related to physics, related to artificial intelligence, robotics, biotechnology, then you have to have a reference material for this. If you have a very good understanding, then you can just refer to current affairs of science. That is enough. So do it on the basis of your own strength. The next main important part of this prelims preparation is current affairs. How do we prepare current affairs for this examination? Till now, we had covered what are the reference material for each subject. There are 7, and we have discussed at least one reference material for each, and there are some that you have to revise multiple times, and then there are some sources which you can just read once to gain proper understanding. For current affairs, I looked into monthly magazine. You can choose any based upon how comfortable you are with that book, how good that book is for preparing this examination. And secondly, newspaper was a daily source that I looked into. So even if nothing is mentioned in one particular monthly magazine, then because I had read the newspaper, I knew that so and so topic was in news, and it helps me in getting comfortable to the question. If something is asked and I have not read in monthly magazine, then I must have read it in the newspaper. And this brings a sense of comfort that even if I'm making a guess in this question, then I know that it is an intelligent guess. I'm just not taking wild guess and getting a wrong answer. So that way, preparing or going through newspaper daily just for an hour or 1.5 hour is a good way to go about it. You do not have to devote 3, 4, 5 hours into newspaper. Maximum 1.5 hours is enough. Now, there are a number of topics apart from what we have looked into that should be covered for scoring high marks in preliminary. First, we have discussed the topic of maps, where for the world map, we have to focus mostly on India's neighborhood. This is very important part. If you look into the previous year question, you would see that question from Afghanistan, from Bay of Bengal plus Southeast Asia, questions from Africa, Middle East, parts of Europe. These have been asked as far as map is concerned. Now, apart from that, obviously, you have to look a little bit into the continents of the world, major oceans, all the oceans of the world, major seas, major passes. These have to be looked into, but in a brief manner. You do not have to devote 5, 6, 7 days for just covering this. And one thing I would like to say that covering maps become very easy when you're watching videos of these things. Then it becomes easier to memorize all these things. It creates a visual picture into your brain that helps you when you're looking at the question in final examination. So this is a very good way of preparing the maps. I would say that you should find out good videos for this and then look into it. Now comes the question of India's map. India's map is very important. You have to look at rivers, mountains, hills. You have to look at capitals of all the states and what are the neighboring state for a particular state. For example, how many states are touching directly the boundary of UP. So these things are very important. You have to look into it and prepare accordingly. Then the second thing that is important is reports and indices. I have observed that past 3 years, every year at least one report or one index has been asked in the examination. So you can easily get 2 marks by just looking at important reports and indices of the world. And these are frequently those reports that are mentioned in the newspaper, which has created a lot of excitement for the people, or which has created a lot of debate, which has been questioned by government authorities. These are the reports and indices that are often asked in the examination. Next is international organization. We have UN, WTO, UNESCO, and then there are a number of organizations related to environment. There are organizations that are working for creating regional unity, global unity, BRICS, East Asia Forum. There are a number of institutions, and you have to have a brief idea about these. So this you can prepare from any material available either in the market or online PDF. You can find it out. it would mostly be a compilation of, let's say, 50 to 70 organizations. Most of them interrelated, most of them have currently no significance. There are only few very active organizations. For that, you should have knowledge. For example, if someone asks about G20, then you should have an idea about what countries are part of G20. If there is a question on OECD, you should know whether India is a member or not. So for OECD, there are 30 plus countries are member of that organization. You don't have to remember this. In that case, you should know whether India is a member or not. If it is not a member, does it have any other status? Is it some associate country or something like that? There are a number of status that these organizations create. You should be aware of that. Next part is international relations and places in news. Newspapers are huge. There is this one page which is covering the international news. There would be a number of places that have been mentioned. Somewhere some riot took place, somewhere some communal issue happened, some bombing, some terrorist attack happened, or civil unrest happened. These things keep coming into newspapers. Now, we don't need to remember all the details, but if we have an idea that probably somewhere in Venezuela, maybe in Caracas, some unrest happened, then we should be aware that, okay, Caracas is in Venezuela. This kind of question can be asked. There, I remember, I think in 2018-13, there was very prominent place in news, and they just asked in which country this place is. That's it. Nothing more than that. So this can become very useful when you are preparing for prelims part. You can get 2 marks easily. The next very important thing is looking into government schemes. You can find out any good compilation of these government schemes, be it from PIB or from any material available in the market. You just have to look at the government schemes from the point of view of which ministry it comes under, what is the target population, what are the important features of the scheme or the goal. So these things have to be prepared so that if you get any question, you can easily answer it. And barring last year, I think there has been a trend of getting one question at least from this area. Next is looking at national park, tiger reserves, extinct or critically endangered species. These lists you have to look into. You have to prepare these parts because it is very easy to prepare. And this is an area which is already, I said, it is very important for this examination. I had mentioned that modern Indian history, you have to look at the appendix of spectrum. So that is a very important part. So for culture part, you have to look into the important tribes of India. What are the GI tags allotted this year or for past few years? What are various festivals, fairs that have been celebrated? And there are a number of historical sites that have been accorded the status of World Heritage Sites. So you have to obviously prepare these areas. These are the areas which you can memorize very easily and you can get easy marks. If you miss out on these things, then you would really feel bad because these areas do not take a lot of time. And also, these are the areas where you cannot make guesses because if you have not studied whether this fair is celebrated in Kerala or not, then you cannot make a guess there. It is very difficult to attempt these kind of questions by wild guesses. Most probably, they would come out wrong if you have not had any idea about these things. Then obviously the flora and fauna of our country and some brief detail about these things in neighborhood of India because we have been connected for millions of years and the kind of flora fauna that exists in India or in neighborhood countries is distributed in a continuous manner. The last 2 points that a candidate should cover is the budget and economic survey. Again, for these 2 parts, I would not recommend going into the detail of each and every line. You can look at the summary of these 2, which is available online, which is available in the market. You can look at any of the PDFs. The summary part would help you in looking at all the important parts very quickly, and obviously it helps you in revision because you have to keep the materials for your revision limited. If it is not limited, you would be discouraged to read all these things over and over again. So just keep the materials limited. Here you can just refer to the summary and that would be enough. Next, we should discuss CSAT. CSAT is the second part of preliminary examination. There are 80 questions. It tests basic numeracy, comprehension, decision making, reasoning, mental ability, all these areas. So if I talk about me, then I did not prepare separately for this because for numeracy, I was confident that I would be able to handle it. And with years of practice and appearing into multiple examinations even before, so I was confident about this comprehension, decision making, and reasoning part as well. But I've seen a number of candidates ignore this part. Now, since it has become qualifying test, scoring high marks is not important here, but what is important that you get enough mark to at least qualify, at least pass the test. So that's why if you think this is an area of weakness for you or you're not confident for this, then you should practice for this part as well. And every year UPSC has been asking tougher questions in this area. It is not easy anymore to take it granted. I have seen a number of candidates fail in this test and score very well in first general studies paper. So please do not ignore this. Even if you are very confident, just look at the previous year questions and find out if you can attempt it or not. This is the basic minimum that you should do even if you're not going to practice for this paper. Now, a number of people have approached me asking, why is practice test important? Why is it important? Now, practice test obviously is a net practice for you before you jump into the final match. Here, you test what is your accuracy rate, how many questions you are able to get right on the basis of the knowledge that you have. What is your sweet spot? When I say sweet spot, I mean what is the optimum number of questions that you should attempt. For the year 2018 and 19 both, I had attempted 94 questions and I have gained pretty good marks. But a number of students go for attempting 100 questions and they get a lot of it wrong. So it is not a matter of pride that you attempt maximum question. I've seen people attempting just 75 questions and getting pretty good marks. So it is all about finding your sweet spot and finding your accuracy rate. You do not have to take wild guesses. You just have to make intelligent guesses. Intelligent guesses from the options is important. So when you are practicing these tests, this is what you learn. I would say that a candidate who is beginning for this preparation and has gained good enough knowledge of all the subjects should at least for their first attempt 30 to 35 tests from any test series they should practice it. It is very important for getting your accuracy rate, finding out if you're able to make intelligent guesses or not, because preliminary is equally about your intuition and it is equally about finding out, deriving the answer from the options itself, because most often the solution is in the question language that they have asked. If you read carefully the language and the options, you would be able to figure out the answer. This is a skill that needs to be learned now for this examination. Earlier, it was easier when they were just asking facts. You could establish it. But now they are asking arguments. And how do you master that? You master that by practicing a number of test papers. Apart from that, it is useful for figuring out your weakness areas. Maybe you're not good in economy. Maybe you're bad in polity. Maybe you're good in 6 of it and you are performing poorly in culture. How do you find it? You find it by practicing a number of tests. When you see that one area is weakness for you, then you practice more tests for that one. The last part, why is it very important, is revision. Now, practicing test is one of the methods of revising what you have studied earlier. For example, if you are taking a test of history, Then you are revising the aspects of history that has been asked in the question. There are 100 questions, and when you get a question wrong for what you have studied earlier, you would be even more aware, more curious to know where you went wrong. So when you're doing this, then these parts are even more consolidated into your memory. So this is very important. Do not ignore this part. A number of candidates have asked me how much time should we devote for prelims preparation. I had previously told you about a rough scheduling of your 1 year. Here I said that at least 2 or 2.5 months before the prelims date, you should devote your time towards prelims completely. It is not wrong, because I had said that whatever you are reading, these 7 pillars of prelims are part of mains examination. So it's not like you're just preparing for prelims. When you're memorizing, when you're revising polity, economy, geography, trust me, these are the questions that would appear in mains as well. These are the parts which you can use as introduction. If you're reading Lakshmikant, you're reading about parliament, then you're reading about the articles related to speaker, article related to budget, bills, these things. These you can use as introduction in your mains answer. So you're preparing for mains as well. So 2.5 months is optimum time if you have properly scheduled your 1 year. Now I had studied 10 hours daily for this prelims preparation, be it mains, prelims or personality test. 10 hours daily was my limit. I could not do more than that. And you should find the optimum time for daily study. However, it should not compromise on your sleep or your health. So it is equally important that you focus on these areas as well. Now let's discuss what are the common mistakes that students have been committing over the years. Even I have done this. So I'm telling you from my own experience that you should avoid these mistakes. The first is having too many strategies. I have seen a number of students who look at a lot of toppers videos, who go through a number of orientation sessions of various coaching institutions, who listen to a number of success gurus, who listen to a number of mantras given by a lot of people, and they are confused and they start with a number of strategies that for prelims we would do this, means we would do this, and they do not even think about interview test and all. These having a number of strategies and not sticking to one is a major mistake. And I've seen students who have kept changing their strategies on the basis of what they have heard, not on the basis of their own mistakes. So if you're changing strategies, you should remember that whether it is helping you or not, whether it is trying to correct any mistakes that you have committed, it's not like you're doing something, it is going right and you should change the strategy. It is a wrong way to approach this examination. Having too many paths would just mislead you. It would confuse you. We do not want that when we are preparing for this examination. The second is having too many sources. I committed this mistake when I was preparing in my first year. I had a lot of sources. I was studying bulky books. A number of my friends suggested that this is a good source for this because one question came from this source. This is not the right way to do this. There are tens of sources, and if you try to find a particular question in that book, you will find it. But then again, you would find that in your NCRT also. You would find those questions in the books that I've mentioned also. So you do not need to go there. Obviously, there will be few questions everywhere which no one has any idea. There was a question last year in prelims who someone said that came from some magazine related to geography. It doesn't mean that we should start reading that. One question does not matter. What matters is the output. What matters is return on investment. Whatever time you are devoting in one particular thing, whether you are getting 2, 4, 5, 6, how many marks out of it. If you're reading Lakshmikant, you are getting 20, 25 marks out of it. But if you're getting some magazine, if you're devoting 2 hours daily into this magazine and you're just getting 2 marks, then it is not worth it. So don't have too many sources. Thousands of toppers have told this over and over again. You need to remember this. You should keep this in mind. The next mistake, I had committed this of not doing enough revisions. When I was preparing for 2017 prelims, I did not revise enough, and that was reflected in the marks that I got that year. So do not do this. For my next 2 attempts, I revised everything that I had read at least 3 times. If you can go 4 times, then it's very good. Then, not practicing. No practicing or not practicing enough is a mistake that a lot of students have been committing. Why does this happen? It is probably because of inertia, probably because of laziness, or because of fear. A lot of students are afraid that if they are going to attempt a test, they would get very less marks and they would get demotivated. Now, when you are starting preparation in initial few tests, obviously you would get less marks, but that should be motivation for you, that you have to build from there. You have to grow from there. So this mindset of growth is very important, that if you have just scored 70 marks in one prelims test, target for 75 marks in next test or 80 marks. If you get that, just imagine how much your confidence will be boosted. So that has to be the mindset when you are preparing for this. The same thing that applies for mains answer writing also. When you're writing a one test completely of 250 marks, maybe first time you would get just 80 marks. It does not matter because you've just started. You have to target for 85 marks in the next test. You just go through this iteration over and over again until you reach 100 marks, 105 marks. And when you reach there, then you have reached a point from where you can never go back. If you are getting 105 marks or 110 marks in GS answer writing or in prelims, you will never go back. And that is a very good spot to be in. This is where your confidence is at its highest, and with this confidence you will perform really well in this examination. The next mistake is the over analysis of result. Fine, cutoff is released. It is fine that a number of students from this and this optional have qualified. It does not matter. Whatever the optional you have taken, whatever your strategy is, if it's working for you, it's enough. You do not need to analyze any trends. That from environment this year they have asked 15 questions, so this is important. For polity, last year they had 20, but this year just 10, so polity is less important. It is not like that. Any year the trend or the pattern can change, so do not get into this habit of making patterns out of question paper or analyzing trends. It is going to waste your time. You have to have basic knowledge, you have to have good understanding of all the subject, what its importance is for the mains or prelims. These are the syllabus topics you have to cover anyway, so do not overanalyze or waste your time. Next is ignoring CSAT. I had already mentioned this part when I was discussing CSAT, that do not do this. Every year the paper is getting tougher, and it is possible that if in overconfidence you have ignored this, then it might cost you. The very minimum, despite your background, the very minimum you can do is look at previous year questions of CSC and just, if not solve it completely, at least take a glance, read the questions and find out whether you can attempt it or not. Then obviously the answers are released everywhere, so have an analysis of whether you can attempt this paper or not. Then obviously the problem of not solving previous year questions. For prelims or mains, you have to look at the previous year questions and find out the depth of the topics that you need to cover. Then the students are not able to decide on what is the optimum number of questions that they should attend. I have already told that I attempted 94, but from looking at the strategy of various toppers, I've seen that 80 to 85 questions, attempting these many questions is the optimum number. Again, you have to find this out on your own by practicing a number of questions paper. The next thing is use of social media. Do not get into the habit of wasting your time on social media. It is not going to help you. Honestly, there is no current affairs in this world that you cannot find in the newspapers or the monthly magazines that you are referring to. So the important parts are already covered there. Social media is just a waste of time. If you're devoting just half an hour or maximum 1 hour per day, then it is fine, but do not overuse this. And do not get into the habit of studying from Quora, or I don't know, there are multiple discussion channels that are going on. Do not waste your time there. It is not going to help you in prelims or mains. The next is comparing your preparation stage with other people. Remember, you have different strength and maybe you're at a different stage of preparation. If you're comparing yourself, if you're just into 1 year of preparation and you're comparing yourself with the person who has prepared 4 years, they would be at different stages. What you have to do is compare yourself to what you had performed last time. If you had gained just 85 marks in last test, check whether you are making a progress from there or you are scoring 90 to 95 marks or not. Do not compare yourself with a person who is scoring 140 marks. It would demotivate you. But if you're comparing your own performance from what you have done last time, it would definitely boost your confidence. And that is the kind of mindset that we need. We need the mindset of growth. I have done this thing. I had always compared myself to what I was doing earlier. I have friends who are very intelligent who had gotten very, very good marks in prelims, but I never compared myself to them. I knew that it would take me years to go to that stage where they were standing at that point of time. They cleared 1 year ago, they cleared 2 years ago. I made it this year. So, what matters to me is whether I grew from the point where I was at the point of time and I did that. I would suggest you do it too. Now, there are a number of candidates who have come to me asking questions about a number of things. For example, they are not able to remember all the things that they are studying. I have faced this problem during prelims preparation because we have to remember a lot of facts and it gets really exhausting when you are revising. So, at the time of revision, what I used to do, whatever I'm studying, I just used to write it in point format. I never revised from this. For prelims preparation, I used to revise from the books only, but I just used to write it. So, in a way, it just consolidated all the things that I was studying. Memorizing by writing is a very good way to approach this problem. If you feel that you are not able to remember all the things, then this is one thing you could do. The second is you can discuss or have a study partner. So, if you are not able to remember the things or the facts that you have studied for prelims, then you can adopt the strategy of writing the things that you are reading. This is one thing that I did when I felt that it is getting too heavy, it is getting too exhausting for me, that I'm not able to remember this and this fact. So I used to just write it. Not everything, because it will take a lot of time then, but if you think there is some particular fact that you're not able to remember and it looks very important, then you could just write it. You could revise it at the very end point, or you could just skip it, because this is just a practice that you're doing. It is not your notes. It is kind of rough work. Remember when you used to solve the mathematics question when you were in 8th or 9th standard? It is just that kind of practice. It is not your notes. The second thing that I did for few subjects was I used to discuss. You could have a study partner. There could be a friend who is facing the same problem. For example, in history, it is a very fact heavy. There are so many names, so many years, so many organizations, publications that I just used to forget. So I had a friend who used to sit with me. I used to tell her about these organizations that I have studied or practiced in test series, and these I have covered. She used to tell me what she has done. So that way, this portion that I found very difficult became easier for me because we were just telling each other. So it just consolidated into our memory. It helped us a lot. You can adopt this approach as well, but remember, do not have too many study partners because that creates distraction and it is an environment which is difficult to control. So you don't need chaos, you need order. That you can bring by having one study partner for few difficult portion. You cannot study everything with any study partner, but there are few areas which is difficult. You can approach that part by doing this. Second questions that candidates have asked is how much current affairs should we cover? Ideally, covering 1 year current affair is the basic minimum requirement for this examination. However, I would like to make it clear that since I was preparing for 2016 and I cleared my first prelims in 2018, so I had gone through basically 2 years of current affairs. Again, I would like to make it clear that current affairs does not change very quickly. If you have been covering it for 2 years, you would know that there are very few events that are happening that are totally new. Otherwise, there are many things that are constant over the years. For example, if ISRO is planning to launch a Gaganyaan in 2021, which they planned in 2018 or 19, then it would appear in current affairs of these 3 years. So there's nothing new in it. You are already aware of this. So these are the facts that actually don't take a lot of time. So if you have enough time, then you can look into the previous year's current affairs as well. Just a quick glance over it. If you find anything new, then just look into it. You trust me, it will not take a lot of time. So you can easily cover 2 years of current affairs. But again, if you don't have enough time, no need to push it. 1 year of current affairs is equally good. The third question that I have received from a number of candidates have been, what should they do if they're scoring really low in test papers, practice test papers? So I would suggest that you should look at the mistakes you're making. You should look at your areas of weaknesses. I have again told that you could just be weaker in science, or you could be performing poorly just in the area of culture. If that is the area, then subject wise you should attempt more papers. Then you should know that you have not revised in this area properly. So just introspecting your own weaknesses would lead you towards getting better scores. Then there is the issue of making guesses. A number of candidates have been asking me how to make guesses. So there is a pattern in this. If you encounter any extreme statement that it happens all the time, it happens always, then these kind of statements are usually wrong. So here you have to build a kind of intuition. So that comes from a lot of practice. So again, to make intelligent guess, you need to practice a lot. So in this area, practice tests are important. So if you keep doing this, then you would develop that kind of intuition. Again, the second thing you should do is look at previous year question papers. From here also, you will be able to make intelligent guesses. Now, candidates have been saying that we don't feel prepared before the prelims examination. So it is a very common fear. Do not get discouraged by it. If you ever feel the same thing, then the only solution to this is revising your books, your sources over and over again, and practicing question papers. Whenever you would score good marks in practice paper, you would know that you are prepared. So that is the way to make sure that you are prepared for appearing into final examination. Remember, this is a very scary stage. A lot of candidates, even the toppers, have been scared by it. They have faced this. But the only thing that can take you across this stage is hard work, is dedication, is a lot of practice, a lot of revision, multiple revisions, and again, a belief in yourself that you can do it. So with this, I would like to thank all of you for watching me here and listen to my journey of prelims preparation. I hope that this strategy would be useful to you. I would like to make this disclaimer that you should not follow this strategy blindly. You should again analyze your strengths and weaknesses and then find out the areas where this part is going to help you. So adopt this strategy if you think it is the best for you, or you can adopt the portions or the parts that you think would be applicable or will be to best of your advantage. So do it wisely, and I would say all the best to all of you. Thank you.